gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with spunk instead of that funk. This is the After 40 Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal, and I'm ready to talk some shit. Let's go! Hey, Superwoman, it's your friend Crystal coming at ya. Today, I'm talking about microdosing. So today's takeaway action, I am prescribing microdosing, but not in the same way that you're thinking about microdosing. And for those of you who don't know what microdosing is, Wikipedia describes it as a technique for studying the behavior of drugs in humans through the administration of doses so low they are unlikely to produce whole body effects, but high enough to allow the cellular response to be studied. Boring. Basically, it's like when you take some psilocybin in a dosage so low that you feel it and experience it without hindering the task you're trying to get done. Now, I wouldn't recommend driving and doing other things like operating machinery, but I know several moms who microdose on psilocybin while they're cleaning the house and doing laundry. Now, they claim there's no other way. And recently, I read an article in CPR.org and was struck by a mom who was asked why she was microdosing. And she said, it dents some of the motherhood drudgery, laundry, bath time, temper tantrums, and brightens the good moments, creating newfound appreciation for life. A mom named Courtney said, it's just 10% helpful. You're 10% more patient, 10% more joyful, and 10% more willing to play and roll around in the grass with your kids. And 10% goes a pretty long way. Sometimes that's all you need. And you know what? I think these moms are on to something. Microdosing. I'm not saying you should microdose on mushrooms or other psychedelics, but what if you microdose on other things? What if we take this concept of microdosing and we inject it into our life just to add that extra 10%? Can you imagine what you could do or bring to your life in 10 years? So if you're in a funk, just start microdosing, like exercise microdosing. If you don't currently exercise, or even if you do, just add 10% to your daily routine. Like if you don't exercise currently, add 10-minute walk in your day. Use your lunch break, or walk your dog, or take the stairs. Or if you currently exercise for 30 minutes a day, add an extra 3 minutes for stretching. And if you don't like the word exercise, call it movement microdosing, where you just add an extra little bit of movement in your day, like walking, boxing, skipping, jumping rope, whatever. Or another example, spiritual microdosing. So whatever you believe, what if you just sit with yourself, sit with it for 2, 5, 10 minutes a day, an extra little time during the week to acknowledge something bigger than you. Pray, meditate, walk around your neighborhood, and be in awe of the things around you. Whatever you decide to do, whatever your belief, add a little spiritual microdosing into your life. I think about this concept of microdosing, and I think, okay, what can I microdose on that will give me 10% more in my life? So I know there's some women out there, myself included, I've been guilty of this, where you come home and you want that glass of wine every night, and you think, okay, let me microdose on my wine and have a glass. But eventually, all that microdosing adds up to a macrodose. So when you're trying to figure out what you want to microdose on, ask what will add to your life. What will help you step into a new you? Get to where you want to be and who you want to become. Stop trying to do everything all at once. I like to use diet programs here because it's a great example where you purchase a diet program that you have to follow for 6, 10, 12 weeks and you go all in. But what if you microdose on your health? Microdose diet, where you just sub a vegetable in on your plate at dinner time every night or 3 times a week, whatever. But just microdose it, because sometimes trying to accomplish everything or your goals or whatever you're trying to do all at once, can seem a little overwhelming. What if you just applied this concept of microdosing, doing things in a small amount to add a little bit or enhance your life a little? Think about this in terms of cooking. Like when you go to make a cake, you need all the little micro ingredients to create the macro product, like the flour, the sugar, the chocolate, the cake pan. And voila, you have the macro product, a cake. Or just think about it in terms of nature. You have all the micro ingredients, the soil, the seeds, the food, the water, to create the macro product, your flour. Microdosing is all around us, or the concept of it. So many women keep telling me that they're stuck. They know they want to do something different in their life, but they're stuck in this funk. They cannot seem to get out of this funk. And why don't we apply this concept of microdosing? Microdose on a bunch of small things. I relate this to eating and food. How do you know what you love to eat? Because somewhere along the way, you've tried all kinds of different foods. You have to start doing the same thing with your life. Begin your microdosing exploration. Discover what you love and you don't love. Sit and reflect about your life in hindsight. I bet it's full of microdosing moments. And what are you most proud of? I bet you can recall a bunch of micro steps that got you there. You microdose to your goals. Even think about that outfit you have on right now. If you're like me and spend most of your time and effort shopping for your children, your shopping life is now microdosing. Where when you're out, if you see something you like and you happen to grab it, it's those small moments where you've picked up all the micro ingredients, all the clothes that made up your outfit that you have on today. Microdose on life. One small microdose at a time can lead to a macro experience, a macro new you. Keep in mind that the side effects or the benefits of microdosing include improved focus, improved energy, cognitive benefits, social benefits, creativity, improved mood, psychological enhancement, self-efficacy, reduced anxiety. All these are the benefits of microdosing. So when you choose what you want to microdose on, does it have those benefits? Does it have any benefits? I'm trying social microdosing, and this is twofold for me, meaning it accomplishes two things. As a busy mom and running my kids all over the place, trying to get work done, homeschooling, there's little time left for me. So I'm trying social microdosing, where I go out and meet a few new friends once or twice a month. And I try to go different places. So I meet new people with different interests. So I don't have to do it all at once or do it every day. It's a small amount that I fit into my schedule that, just like microdosing the psychedelics, adds a little buzz to my life, enhances it. And the other part of the social microdosing is to limit my time on social media, to limit social media so that I can go be more social. Crazy concept, right? So instead of spending an hour wandering aimlessly on social, I limit it to 5 to 10 minutes. I challenge you to start to think about in what area of your life do you want to start microdosing. It actually becomes fun when you start thinking about it and where you can microdose. And in my example before, I showed you microdosing can involve planning. It may involve scheduling. Like if you want to start microdosing on meditation, it may require you to schedule or plan that out, especially if you're like me and have little ones wandering around. Just remember that to change requires effort, and it requires you wanting to. And it may be something just as simple as media microdosing. Instead of letting your news channels run all day, getting you worried and fearful of the future or what's happening in our world, start microdosing on the news. Media microdosing. Take in only 5 or 10 minutes. Limit the time you have with it. Turn the channel, or better yet, just turn it off. And if you can't think of an area where you need to microdose, then microdose on nature. Take a breath of fresh air. Watch the sway of the tree in the wind. Watch a bumblebee pollinate a flower. or wonder how that bird sits on the tip of that tree branch. Microdose in awe, microdose in nature. The great Napoleon Hill said, if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. So when you decide to try microdosing in that certain area of your life, make it great. So in 5, 10, 20 years, it will result in something grand and magnificent. So your takeaway action, you guessed it, microdose, girl. And perhaps through microdosing, you create a little more capacity to love yourself and for happiness. Time to go microdose. Let's go. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, now is the time to go on Funk Your Mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up and go.